This video is about Goofs on the Dukes of Hazzard. Like every other kid that grew up in the 70s and 80s, the Dukes of Hazzard was one of my favorite shows. The show ran from 79 to 85 for 7 seasons and 147 episodes. Now I have to get this off my chest right off the bat before we start. The biggest goof of the show they ever made, in my opinion, was when the decision was made to move the series production from Georgia to California. Sure, it was still a fun show, I'll admit that, but it really lost that feeling of authenticity that it had with the original episodes. Okay, in the very first episode, Cooter steals a police car and is being chased by the Dukes, but as he drives by, it is a police officer in the car, and you can tell by the star that's on his shoulder. Now, they didn't really reveal the fact that it was Cooter until Cooter wrecks the car. Quick side note, I think old Cooter was channeling another classic TV country boy, Ernest T.
Fine, same Fox matches.
Howdy do to you and you. It's me, it's Ernest T.
Now, this next scene could have been meant for a new Twilight Zone revival, because either the Dukes drove so fast they went back in time and passed themselves, or they went into a parallel dimension, or maybe the crew just left an extra General Lee lying around. I don't know. Speaking of spooky incidents, in the second season episode, The Ghost of General Lee, Rosco thinks the Dukes drowned along with the General, so the Dukes pretend to be ghosts and ram Rosco's patrol car. Now notice the General looks to have sustained some damage, even to the point of the hood popping open. But then in the next scene, the General pulls away without a scratch. Of course, I've always suspected the General was able to heal itself. Of course, we know that in real life, every time the General jumped, the Dodge Charger that played the General was dead. Even though, as far as we saw, the Dukes just drove on like nothing ever happened. And you wonder why 69 Dodge Chargers are so hard to find these days. If you're a big Dukes of Hazzard fan, like me, you've probably seen this jump a million times. I have to be honest, I never noticed this before until I read it on the IMDb. There's a camera attached to the General on your left. It's likely that's what gave us this cool shot of the General in the air. In the second season episode, Hazzard Connection, something doesn't seem quite right when Bo punches the bad guy in this scene. It looks like the bad guy is reacting before Bo even gets anywhere near his face. Of course, maybe he was just squeamish. Yeah, I think the threat of Bo's mighty punch was just enough to scare the man into reacting way before the punch. That's what it was. I'm starting to think that Hazzard County is near the Bermuda Triangle. I mean, check out this time jump. See this fella running up to meet his girl? Well, here he is again pulling up in a car. The next explosive goof occurs on the episode The Runaway. Now this is the episode where the Duke boys run Daisy's Roadrunner right off a cliff. Now you know I always like that car better than the Jeep. Now as you can see, the Dukes are clearly alone in the car, which looks to be in the studio. Now I always wondered, why do they ever shoot those outdoor scenes indoors on these TV shows? Well anyways, just as the Duke boys jump out of the vehicle, suddenly a mysterious figure pops out of nowhere. Now, I sure hope he was a stuntman and knew what he was doing, because, you know, that car just goes right off the cliff into a big fiery explosion. In the second season, on the episode Follow That Still, Rosco P. Coltrane is trying to pull over the Duke boys, again, who are driving a tank this time. Now, Rosco wrecks his patrol car, of course, which looks to have lost its police siren, but then it mysteriously reappears the next second. You reckon we can chalk this one up to the Bermuda Triangle theory I have again? Now in the same episode, toward the end, the Dukes are in the tank again, and they find illegal cigarettes inside, which violates their probation. So they start throwing out the boxes of cigarettes until the brakes on the tank give out, and they all have to jump out the safety as the tank heads towards the boar's nest. But there must have been a ghost inside that tank, as the boxes are still being thrown out of the tank right before the tank slams into the boar's nest, and after, of course, everybody's already jumped out of the tank. Of course, I do have a theory. If you've ever read the OGI comics, then you might be familiar with the haunted tank, which during World War II was inhabited by the ghost of Civil War General Stuart. He helped his descendant Jeb Stuart fight the Germans in that war, and proven that the ghost of General Stuart did in fact come in contact with the Dukes. There's an episode of the Batman Brave and the Bold where the tank not only does a Dukes of Hazzard style jump, but also made the Dixie sound, just like the sound of the Duke's General Lee's horn. The next goof involves a car that changes models in the middle of a stunt. Now, in this scene from the 3rd season episode, Carnival of Thrills, we see Bo about to do a practice jump for a show he's joined. Now, I'm not quite sure about the models of the car he's supposed to be driving, but according to IMDb, he starts his jump in a Plymouth Satellite. Then as he gets closer to the ramp, the car turns into a Plymouth Fury. And then once it lands, it becomes a Ford Grand Torino. As he's driving back, it morphs yet again. Now, if you had a hard time telling that the car was changing, just keep your eyes on the front of the grill, rewind it, and look at it again. Now, can you imagine if they switched to General Lee like that during the middle of a jump? I mean, what if it turned into a Mustang headed for the jump, and then in the air, God forbid, it turned into a Pinto before it hit the ground? It would have exploded into a fiery ball of, well, fire. I do have a theory, though. It could be that Bo had indeed made the first contact with alien life that we know as the Transformers. Now, in the 3rd season episode, Mrs. Rosco P. Coltrane, the Dukes get ran off the road by some crooks. And the General takes a lot of damage, but by the middle of the episode, the General appears to have healed itself. When the Dukes pull up to the farm, it looks perfect. Then it only looks beaten and battered again a few scenes later. Now, we know the General can heal itself, but can it make itself look hurt on command as well? I just don't know. One thing is for sure, though. Despite some technical goofs, the Dukes of Hazzard was a great, fun show to watch. It was like watching the Roadrunner and the Coyote. I mean, Roscoe was the Coyote and the Duke boys were the Roadrunner. Thanks for watching, y'all, and please subscribe, hit the like, comment, hit the bell for future notifications. We've got a lot of great videos on the 70s and the 80s TV shows, and plan on doing a lot more even, into the 60s and stuff like that, because I love classic television. And we have a lot of stuff on, particularly on superheroes, classic TV superheroes, that is, and a few things on comic books. And I've got my animated shorts, original animated shorts of characters that I've created on this channel. So check it all out. And like I said, mostly we're just doing classic television stuff because that's the best kind of TV there is. Have a great day.